and welcome to another episode of GeekOutdoors.com. So this week we're going to be talking about the continuing woes of the Windows 10 update and also some issues with Soul Calibur 6 on Linux. So the first bit of news is the latest Windows 10 October 2018 update. There have been many people who have actually complained about issues with these updates, specifically with files being deleted. That was probably one of the biggest things. And now with an issue with the zip file where it will overwrite some of your older zip files without prompting you to overwrite it first. And I've actually had an issue with the Windows 10 updates as well. About a month ago I bought a brand new HP laptop, and then a few weeks in I actually got the latest Windows 10 update, and after the update my sound card was no longer detected even after I went back to a previous version, and even after I restored my system. So basically my sound stopped working on my brand new HP laptop. But these issues are something that I really feel is one of the biggest issues that I had whenever I was using Microsoft Windows as my main operating system. And it seems like this hasn't gotten better. You know, I understand the whole importance of having updates for your system, but when your updates actually cause more problems, and it actually causes people to spend more time trying to fix the problems that was created by your updates, then it becomes a huge issue. And for a lot of people who have never really used Linux, especially modern Linux, I still think that there is a huge misconception that, you know, Linux is only for geeks and that it is extremely complicated. So let me show you a few examples from my own personal experience of why I really feel that that is no longer the case. And Windows 10 is just, to me, it's just unnecessarily complicated, and it's just not a great user experience overall. And so if I go into Windows 10 and I go here into my settings, and let's go ahead and look at the update and security. Now when you come here, things look primarily simple, but then there's these other options. Change your active hours, you can look at your history, and then you could look at advanced options. There's more options here. I don't even know what that means. And then if you dig further, there's just a lot of places where you could actually dig down further. Okay, there's recovery, there's activation for your Windows license, find my device, there's a for developers option right here. There's also Windows Insider program. Okay, once that loads, and that's for the update and security part. And then if you go to something like privacy, there's general, speech ink typing, diagnostics. You know, most of these are already checked off. Activity history, your location, you know, your camera, and all the apps, microphone, notifications, account info, contacts, your calendar, your call history, your phone call history, other settings underneath settings. And I think it's extremely complex, and that's only for these two options. And there's so many other options here that, to me, after using modern Linux for so long, and after being a Linux user for more than 10 years, I simply cannot go back to this as my main operating system. Now I do run Windows 10 in a virtual machine because there's certain programs that I need for work. Now let's go ahead and go back to Linux, and let's compare those two areas. First, updates and security, and then secondly, for your privacy. So if I come here to updates, so this is where all my system level updates are. It tells me what updates are available, and I could check or uncheck them for upgrade. Then I'm gonna go up here to edit preferences. I could choose other options here. I could choose different level of updates from level 1 to 4, whether or not I want them. There's a auto refresh feature. You can blacklist features, and then here's the auto upgrade option. And other than that, there are other things, but to me this is a lot simpler and intuitive, and unlike Microsoft Windows, it doesn't bug me to update. I choose when I want to update. And now if we go to something like the privacy, and you saw the privacy options in Windows 10, if I go here to settings, go to privacy, that's it, on or off, for it to remember what I recently accessed. That's privacy. And everything else under the settings, in my opinion, under modern Linux, and this is Linux Mint that I'm using, it's a lot simpler and more intuitive. You know, stuff just makes sense. I don't really have to really dig down into like multi-level, menus and systems just to figure out, number one, how to turn things off, and then number two, what it actually means. And so this is something that I'm so glad I don't really have to deal with anymore, because Windows is no longer my primary operating system. And that's why I really don't think I'll ever go back to Microsoft Windows as my main operating system unless I had to. And so Microsoft has released some updates. There will be bug fixes. And even after the first issue with it deleting files, they even halted some of the rollout of these updates. And it has a lot to do with how, Windows is actually doing updates now. They're primarily allowing their user base to be beta testers. So a lot of times they're releasing updates that haven't been fully tested, which sucks. And other issues that now I remember, that with Windows 10 updates, you actually have to learn, different ways of not to get updates. So you're just spending so much time trying to prevent Microsoft Windows from doing things. And I definitely do not miss that. I don't like having to spend so much time fiddling around with my operating system to make sure it does things that I don't want it to do. Versus in the whole modern Linux world, I control how my operating system works, versus the other way around where you are controlled by your operating system. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get into an issue with Linux. And so here recently, Soul Calibur 6 came out. I absolutely love Soul Calibur. And before that, it was called Soul Blade on the PlayStation. And Soul Calibur was one of my favorite, and is still one of my favorite games of all time. And whenever I bought my Dreamcast, I definitely got Soul Calibur. So Soul Calibur 6 is an awesome addition to the series, and obviously right now it's only available on Windows. But thanks to the recent updates to Steam, specifically with Steam Play, we are able to play some Windows games in Linux. But there was a recent issue with that, in a sense that if you did play Soul Calibur 6, via Steam Play through Steam, then you would have problems connecting for online play. And the big problem was, if you even went back to Windows and tried to play the same game or reinstall it, this same issue would happen. And so basically, if you use it on Linux and then go back to use it on Windows, you can no longer get network play, which actually sucked really bad. But the good thing is, it seems like Bandai Namco has noticed this, and it completely makes sense, because this wasn't designed for Linux. And so Steam Play Proton is something that is new, and I really applaud Bandai Namco for noticing this and addressing this, even though their Linux gaming player base is probably super duper small. But I think because of Steam Play and Proton, I think more Linux users will be playing Windows games, and issues like this will probably come up more often, until this actual service matures, and until it gets to the point where it doesn't matter what operating system you're on, the game would just work. And so, yeah, that's basically it for this week's news. I'm super happy that gamers can play some of these Windows games on Linux, and so I'm probably definitely going to try this as well. Once this network issue gets resolved, I'll go ahead and get Soul Calibur 6 and then try it out on my Linux operating system. And then for everybody else, who still has Windows as their primary operating system, I recommend that, give modern Linux a shot. Try it out in a virtual machine. You might be pleasantly surprised of how easy and intuitive it is. And also, for most things, for general users, I don't think that there's anything that you're going to be lacking if you do decide to try modern Linux. And so if you had any thoughts on this, whether you have had any issues, or maybe you've had no issues with the latest Windows 10 updates, or if you have Soul Calibur 6 and you've tried to run this on Linux, please let me know. And as always, if you did get value on these videos, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. Hey geeks, if you are a creative geek like me and you wanted to learn how to create content on YouTube and other places on the internet, then check out my Go Content Creators group, where you'll get access to 30 videos plus additional content for all the creative geeks out there. And the best part of it is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and sign up for my Go Content Creators group. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side. Thanks for checking out this episode. And as always, if you like these videos, be sure to click on the subscribe button. And for full written content, audio content, and additional geek stuff, head over to geekoutdoors.com, and I'll see you outdoors on the very next episode.